Guys, welcome back to the show. It's a fresh week. We like fresh weeks around here, and we're going to be talking to you about some millennial things today. It's based on an article that I saw that said 90% of millennials say they would buy a house right now, sight unseen, aka buying a house without having actually seen it or been inside of it. And this is a horrible idea, of course. I don't really think you should need me to tell you why, but we got to fill up 7 minutes talking about something, right? So why the hell not? Here's my caveat. Here's the only caveat that I really have to the article, which is, are we talking about putting in a blind offer? Are we talking about putting in a blind offer and actually getting to the closing table and legally owning the house without having ever seen the house? Because those are big differences. Now, I can tell you this, a blind offer is just a dick move. Okay, it's just a dick move, and it's a waste of, it's just disrespectful. It's like, for the listing agent, a lot of listing agents won't even take a blind offer. They'll be like, you haven't seen the house? No, we're not taking your offer. Go look at it. Go make an effort. Like, yeah, if you make an effort, sure, we'll take a look at your offer. But no, don't submit a blind offer. But that's, whatever. But so that's really the caveat. Blind offer, or are we talking about closing the house without having seen it? So there's really 2 points to this. One, you really don't know what the house looks like until you go and see it in person. Because I hate to break this to you, everyone, but listing photos are designed to make a house look as good as possible, with the lighting and the way it's potentially staged and things that they exclude, right? It's not only what they include that's the highlight reel of the house, but what did they not show you, right? So you're really not gonna know what a house looks like until you show up in person. I've seen many a house that when you look at it online, you're like, looks pretty damn good. And then you show up in person and you're like, looked a lot better in the photos. Now, for those of you in the single dating pool, you know this very well, which is oftentimes photos have things called filters. And there's also a thing called angles. And you can pop a hip in the slightest of directions and make it look like you got a booty. And in reality, you got a real flat ass. And you show up in person and you're like, well, the filters and the angles definitely played a big part in the swipe, right? So this is neither here nor there, but just to put it in perspective for some of you that might be able to relate to that horror show that you show up to in person. The other thing, besides photos being misleading, is that you are not going to know what kind of shape the house is in until you get an inspection. And this is probably the more critical piece, because an inspection, right, that you spend hundreds of dollars on, is designed to show you everything that the house is doing well, but more importantly, where are the areas for improvement, shall we say? Like, is the roof is that at 25 years and that thing needs to be replaced? Like, is the electrical fucked because the dude decided he was going to be an electrician because he watched a YouTube video? So like, these are things you need to do an inspection for in order to find out the reality of the house that you are agreeing to buy. Without doing an inspection, story for a different time. But I mean, I'll go into it, maybe break this thing down at some point. But we had a client that the only real thing that the listing agent was pressing us on is, why are you doing an inspection? Like, because we would be stupid not to. Even with this particular buyer, it was like, absolutely not. You're not buying that house without doing an inspection on it. Here's the exceptions to the rule that I just gave you. Military PCS. So if you're in the military and you were doing a permanent change of station and you're going from wherever, Georgia to Alaska, for example, you go, well, you might not have the luxury of being able to show up in person and see the house, right? And it's the same thing if you were moving out of state, right? You live in Utah and I'm moving to Tennessee, and you go, hey, look, we might need to do these showings and everything remotely. And I do want to see it. I do want my agent on the ground there to go, and I want them to FaceTime me and show me exactly what the house looks like. But I might not physically be able to be there. Someone is, and they're going to be showing me what the house looks like. The notion of no one goes, your agent doesn't go, you don't go, that's just suicide. Guys, that's just dumb. And if you're a millennial and watching this and you're like, I was one of the 90% that says I would do that. Don't. You must be better than that. I agree, it's a competitive real estate market, but you do not want to buy a house without having seen it in person and evaluated it for yourself. That said, let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to give you guys a real quick plug here. This is actually more for the 1911 Syndicate channel, but we actually picked up a sponsor that we're going to do some videos for. Well, not like about this, but they're going to be the sponsor of this. Is a service called Aura, A-U-R-A. We'll flash up the little link here on the screen that you can click. I'll hopefully remember to link it down below. Really cool service, actually. We had a good conversation, everything. Identity theft protection. I will admit, at the risk of maybe sounding a little paranoid, that the idea of your identity and bank accounts and credit and all that stuff being hacked is it's a very real threat, and it's something that I've given thought to, but I've never actually gotten a service to do it. Just so happens we had a company reach out to us about sponsoring some videos, so I've been using that for the past little bit, about a week now, in all disclosure, but super cool. Comes with like a VPN, $1 million insurance policy if you get hacked while you're under their, under their service. So I'm like, it's actually really cool. Like, it's really cool. Like, took me about 5-10 minutes to set the thing up. I'll link it below. Check it out. I think we get you 2 weeks free and then 40% off the service if you want it. Try it out. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, get rid of it. Doesn't hurt my feelings either way. On to more important things. Talk about bourbon real quick here. So for anyone that watches this show, which is 17 to 18 people, if you are a bourbon drinker, you might know that you're looking at something pretty hard to get here. I, like a true degenerate, went to Park City and waited on one of the coldest days of the year in line before the store opened to get my couple of bottles of High West Boo Rye, which is a combination of bourbon and rye whiskeys. It's, this, as someone who's really been kind of collecting High West, this was one of the things I did not have, and I did not want to spend the maybe like $220 on the secondary market for these, when in reality they go for $80 if you could get it without paying the markup. So very excited about this. Haven't even cracked it yet. Can't tell you if it's good or not. I'm on a little bit of a freeze in terms of opening up new bottles right now. So that bottle will have to get saved for a different time. But just know, very excited about that find on my part. That's pretty much it. If you guys need real estate help, let us know. That's what the 1911 Syndicate is. A lot of military, law enforcement, hunter, shooter, stuff like that. But if you guys need real estate help, let us know. We will give you an honest answer to whatever your inquiry is, even if you don't like it, which happens often. A lot of times I got to be the bad cop. But I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you get to be the good cop in your life. And with that said, we'll see you next time.